Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Go Tops Pod. I am joined by my co-hosts, Nathan Kennan, and welcome back to Jack Abels, who last you heard from him, he was quitting, and we didn't know if we'd ever hear from him again. So thank you for coming back on. Hope your finals went well. Hope you're doing better. And we're so excited for a special episode of the pod tonight to break down the college football bowls. We're going a little off script today. We don't have stats, projections, anything like that. We're holidays. We're just kind of catching up with each other. We're going to talk some bowls with you all. So how are you boys doing today?
I'm good.
I'm phenomenal. I like that you said we're catching up with each other, like we haven't been talking for the past 2 days straight.
Yeah, I don't even know who you guys are, honestly. So, okay, so I just also want to congratulate Jack for waking up from his nap in time for this.
Okay, no, listen to me. Okay, so my parents came today to drop off Christmas presents, and I was an idiot because when I told them they could come over and drop them off, I said, "Oh, you can come at like 10:30. I'll be awake." I wake up, there is banging on my door. I have like 6 missed phone calls. I'm like, "What the hell happened here?"
Nothing shocks me about this.
And my mom's like, "Hey, why didn't you pick up?" And I was like, I was dead asleep because I don't think I went to sleep till like 5 a.m. I was too busy playing 2K last night. Oops. And then Michaela has to work tonight, so she was like, "I'm gonna go back to bed," and I was like, "You know what? I think I'm gonna stay up." So probably since like 11 till like 4, I was just playing Fortnite. So it's been a hell of a day, I will say.
Super productive from Jack. Really proud of you.
Thank you.
How about you, Nate?
I went to work today. I woke up before 10:30.
Wow.
And I didn't wake up to banging on the door. So.
Wow.
Yeah, big day.
Yeah, I went for a hike with my mom today. Finally got out back on the trail, and it was beautiful out. And kind of cool to see the trail in different shape than it is in the summer and fall and spring when I've hiked before. So this is the first winter hike. So really beautiful day, honestly. So yeah, just get outside and socially distance with family, but hikes are an awesome way to do that. So okay, so we've got 29 bowl games. We've got one bowl change. We've got Army replacing Tennessee in the Liberty Bowl. They'll be playing West Virginia. And then we've got the Iowa Hawkeyes, who may or may not be playing their bowl game, versus Missouri with their COVID outbreak. But they had a team meeting today, and they said that they are very interested in playing that game. So good for Iowa. Hope everyone's doing well in that program there. And hopefully we get to see them play Missouri, because that might be one of the better bowl games in this slate. So we'll go kind of team by team, game by game. We'll read off the name, we'll read off the time, the date, and then maybe the TV channel that it's on, and then we'll give our picks and then any thoughts that we might have. So anything you boys want to say before we get started?
No, well, I'm going to talk real quick. So if there's an outbreak for Iowa, I will walk on as the kicker or anything that I won't get hurt on. So
Water boy.
Yes,
that works too.
I think when I found out Iowa was going to play Missouri, it reminds me of how they played them in the Inside Bowl. Well, they played them twice in the Inside Bowl, right? They played Chase Daniel and Blaine Gabbert, I think.
I remember the Blaine Gabbert pick to Micah Hyde.
Yep. And then I think did we beat the Chase Daniel team? I can't remember.
I honestly don't remember. I'm a great Iowa fan.
Jack, what year did you play on the Iowa team? You said we beat them, so I was just wondering.
Yeah.
How you played.
I was number 87 in 2016, 2017.
Yeah, we did not play them then, but good try.
Okay, so the first game happened Monday, December 21st at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Also, you said happened.
It happened.
Oh,
today's the 21st, Jack.
Oh,
all right. Appalachian State blew them out, though.
So-
Back on track.
Any final score predictions on this one? I'm going to guess 56-28.
I'm gonna say North Texas comes in and just demolishes them.
I'm gonna guess. I think the game ends in a draw.
Draw.
Tie.
You guys are just wonderful co-hosts. Just invigorating information. Thank you. So we get kind of the real stuff off tomorrow. We've got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. We've got Tulane versus Nevada at 2:30 Central Time on ESPN. So pretty decent season for both teams. Carson Strong, probably one of the better players in this game for Nevada. Any picks from either of you?
I picked Nevada.
Give me Tulane. I like them.
Why
I
do you
like
like
the,
Tulane?
Probably because I did an NCAA season with them and won the national championship. And I think, people talk about like chakras and energy. And if I just give off those vibes and energy that Tulane's going to win, I think they'll win.
Yeah.
How do you follow that up?
I don't know how to follow that up. Nevada. Yeah. I got Nevada because Jack picked Tulane, to be honest with you. I do not trust him.
Yes. Okay. Nice job, guys. I'm picking Nevada. Then we've got the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. We've got the UCF versus number 16 BYU. This is a really solid matchup. I don't know how a company called roofclaim.com got these two guys.
You
But,
ever
I mean,
used
this
them
is-
before?
I've never used them before, no.
I use them all the time. What are you talking about?
What is it, Jack? What is
No
Roofclaim?
idea. I couldn't tell you.
It's where you claim roofs. Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, I think this one's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, this is two teams, probably two of the best, I guess, G5 teams. I know BYU is an independent, so they're not technically G5, but just kind of one of those teams that maybe doesn't have as much of a shot to make the playoff. So in that case, they're kind of in that range of teams. I'm really excited to see Zach Wilson in this one. And then Dylan Gabriel for UCF, just a really nice quarterback matchup. Two guys that probably have NFL futures. I do a BYU in this one. I think it's gonna be a really high scoring game though, and that's why it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I have BYU. I have BYU too. I'll let you go next or first next time, Jack. This is going to be a really high scoring game. The over under is currently set at 75, and these teams average 44 and 43 points a game. So should be a lot of fun. But BYU, they've only had their one loss this year was to Coastal Carolina, who obviously is very, very good. So I can't have the not reigning, but the national champions of a few years back, Central Florida, win this bowl game.
I think like EJ mentioned, I think this is two of probably the best quarterbacks in the G5 and the independent teams in the NCAA. I think it will be a high scoring game. I don't know if they'll hit 70 points because can BYU really produce in those big time games? I mean, look what they did against Coastal Carolina. And they had like a slogan, wasn't it like anybody, anytime, anywhere, but they like declined to play like 3 games. So
Ooh, shots fired.
I'm just saying. I think
What can you just, for all the BYU fans that come after you, can you just state your Twitter, please?
yeah, it's Hoover Jables 98. It's linked you'll find it.
Okay.
I only have like 11 followers, so I'm not too worried about it.
And they're all BYU fans, I'm sure.
Go Cats.
Do you know what BYU?
Go Cats.
Yeah, they're the Cougars. I know that.
Okay. We've got the next up on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. We've got the RNL Carriers New Orleans Bowl. We've got Louisiana Tech versus Georgia Southern. Jack, why don't you go first on this one because Nathan keeps stealing your shine.
Louisiana Tech's going to be having a new quarterback in Aaron Allen. They lost Luke Anthony in their last game. It was a blowout. Their last game was a blowout loss to TCU. So I don't really – I see Georgia Southern taking this game. I think Louisiana Tech with that new quarterback, I don't think they're going to do as well as we think. EJ, your hat disappeared.
My hat did disappear. My head is hot.
Nathan, what's the line for this game? Is there one out yet?
Yeah, it is Georgia Southern -5.5 over under 48.5.
Kind of low scoring game, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the thing for me, the reason the line's so low is Georgia Southern runs the triple option. And I think it is. I have Louisiana Tech in this game. I did not know about the Louisiana Tech quarterback being out, so I think probably if I could change it, I would, but of course I can't. It's really hard to prepare for a triple option team, especially on short notice with these bowl games. I mean, Louisiana Tech, they might have found out before, but they haven't known for like more than 2 weeks. So it's not like when you play, like Navy knows they're playing Army, and so they know to prepare for a triple option, or like Colorado State knows they're going to play Air Force, and so they can prepare for it. Louisiana Tech has no idea. They don't play anyone in Conference USA that runs the triple option. So I'd probably pick Georgia Southern in this one.
I got Georgia Southern. New quarterback, triple option.
Yeah.
Not a good recipe.
Next up, we've got the Montgomery Bowl on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So it looks like we have about 2 games per day for a little bit, which is just kind of nice to get some of these small bowls in. Yeah, so we've got Memphis versus FAU. What say you, Nathaniel?
That was good. I have Memphis in this game. I don't trust Florida Atlantic personally. I would never trust Florida Atlantic. Sorry, Florida Atlantic fans. But yes, I have Memphis in this game.
I'll take Florida Atlantic. I think this is kind of a revenge tour for Willie Taggart after an abysmal. What was he there? 2-3 years at Florida State?
In 2 years.
2 years? Yeah. FAU has kind of flip-flopped between quarterbacks, Nick Troney and Javon Posey. I think it's how you Javon. I don't know. They've kind of flip-flopped throughout the year, but Mr. Posey, the second gentleman I mentioned, leads FAU in rushing with I think 401 yards, which I mean, for a coach that's coming from 2 really good offensive schools in FSU, in Oregon, you would think he would know how to utilize a rushing quarterback better than 400 yards. But I'll take FAU in this game.
How many games has FAU played?
FAU, their record to finish the season was 5-3, so they played 8.
So they played 8. So it's their leading rushers at 50 yards per game.
Yeah,
which is
they average as a team 185.
Okay,
which is
so
40
just
more
kind
than
of
Memphis.
It's kind of a spread out team. Yeah, I mean, Memphis just kind of the air raid after Norvell left for Florida State. Ryan Silverfield, the coach there, just kind of a struggle of a year. I know they were picked to kind of contend in that AAC. Obviously, Cincinnati ended up kind of being world beaters, and so no one really stood a shot. But yeah, I'm taking Memphis in this one. I think Memphis still has the Brady White, just kind of an elite arm talent for Memphis. If he's playing in this one, then I think Memphis will win this one. Next up, we've got the New Mexico Bowl. We've got Hawaii playing Houston, and that is Christmas Eve at 2:30 Eastern time on ESPN. And so this one might be fun too. Two fun teams. I always like to see Hawaii play. And the New Mexico Bowl always seems to be kind of fun. Sometimes you get snow and stuff there. So any picks from either of you?
I think I can never get this last name right. Is it Holmgren or the Dana something from West Virginia?
Holgorsen.
That's it. I don't think he's been the coach that Houston thought they were getting when they hired him. I think he's been kind of disappointing. Obviously with COVID, I think things weren't normal, but a 3-4 record in a conference that I think Houston should, easily be in the top 2 in. It's kind of disappointing. And special side note, Hawaii, their quarterback is from Honolulu, and he is attempting to become the first quarterback to lead Hawaii in rushing since 1991, which when you think about Hawaii, you think of quarterbacks that just sling it up and down the field. But I think it's kind of you can kind of see where that football program is evolving and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, just a little bit different. Their coach, Todd Graham, I think, is the new coach at Florida or at Hawaii, excuse me. He just kind of a different system with their previous coach leaving for Washington State. Excuse me, I cannot talk. Yeah, just kind of a different system. It's not necessarily the air raid that we're used to seeing at Hawaii, but getting results. And yeah, I think your point on Holgerson, he had great success at West Virginia. Shout out to West Virginia. But he was kind of like on his way out at the school, and he just kind of ditched. You know what? When you're kind of you're in hot water as a coach, and then you just leave to kind of get that fresh start. I mean, Houston's not a bad place to coach. You're in Texas, you got the money. It's lower expectations than if you're at like University of Texas or A&M. And so I think he got that, but yeah, just no excuses. I mean, you've probably got the most money in that conference. Like you can recruit. Ed Oliver, a 5-star, was there a couple of years ago. Like you can recruit to Houston. So just this is not acceptable. I'm going to take Houston though. Think it'll be very close game and a really fun one to watch too. Those Christmas Eve games are always so much fun.
Yeah, I have Houston in this game. I think it's going to be closer. The current spread is 13 for Houston. Yeah. So hammer Hawaii plus 13.
Yeah,
actually, you probably shouldn't take betting advice from me, but yeah. Hammer Hawaii plus 13.
Someone cut that out, please. Thank you. Okay, we've got the Camellia Bowl. I'm not sure if they usually play on Christmas. I don't think they do. But it's Marshall versus Buffalo at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN. This is gonna be Christmas is gonna be an absolute awesome sports day. We talked about the Big Ten football. We've got NBA coming back tomorrow, right, Nate?
Yes. Yep, tomorrow.
I guess that's why I'm wearing the shirt. I already said that. But yeah, go Bucks, baby. So yeah, we've got Marshall versus Buffalo. This is a really fun one too. Marshall started off the season so hot, and Buffalo was undefeated coming into the last season. That Jarrett Patterson, the awesome running back from Buffalo, really excited for this one too. There are quite a few decent matchups. I know I was just saying how it's kind of a weaker schedule. But I think this one will be a lot of fun to watch too. I've got Buffalo in this one, but I think it's gonna be pretty close.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close game, but I got Buffalo also. Marshall's kind of in a little down spiral. They've lost 20-0 and 22-13 after just dominating the entire year. And Buffalo Patterson is a monster. I'm really excited to see what he can do in this game.
I'll take Buffalo. Jarrett Patterson is just way too good for that Marshall defense. I mean, he's averaging 178 yards a game, which is leading the country. I think over the games they played, he has 1,072 yards and 19 touchdowns or something like that. And also, fun fact, Buffalo in its first 29 years as a Division I football program didn't win a bowl game. And if they win their bowl game this year, it'll be back-to-back bowl wins because they beat Charlotte last year. I think it was 31-9 or something like that. So kind of Buffalo's on the up and up. It'll be kind of interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I remember that Buffalo game. I think it was the first one of the year, the Bahamas Bowl, I think they were in. I was eating some sushi, and I was just reminiscing about it because we did this kind of bowl pick-em with my family last year. Just like I was at a restaurant eating sushi, and things were totally normal. So just kind of a weird time, and hoping we're kind of pushing through. And maybe this time next year, the three of us will be together now making these picks in person. So the next game up, we've got the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl, and that is Saturday at 11 Eastern time on ABC. We've got South Carolina versus UAB. And if I'm being honest, this might be the game I'm just least excited for. South Carolina is 2-8.
Not good.
No,
not good.
It's frustrating. I'm picking UAB. It's like, this is the one that like sever the bowl tie for the season. Like, also, why is South Carolina? Why do they want to play?
That's what I was going to ask.
Like, just opt out.
Yeah. I hope UAB just throttles them.
Yeah.
Nathan, is there a lineup for this game yet?
It's UAB minus 6.5.
Golly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's not spend too much time talking about
Yeah,
that.
no.
No. Then we've got the Lending Tree Bowl. Our Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky versus Georgia State. This one is at 2:30 Central on ESPN, and I am taking the Tops. Just a good way to finish out the season for Western Kentucky. Georgia State having a better year than they've had in years past. But I think this will be a good year or I guess a good finishing touch for the Hilltoppers to kind of prepare for next year.
Yep, go Tops, baby.
Oh, obviously, I'll take the Tops in this one. After starting 1-4, they win 4 of their next 6 to finish 5-6. That's how you turn a season around. I remember kind of when we started this, we were talking about why can I not think of his name? Tyrell
Pigram.
Yes, and how they had some quarterback controversy, but he's the only quarterback in FBS to throw 81 attempts and not throw a pick. But Nathan, what was that saying that you had when we started?
Who?
It was like can't throw a pick if you don't throw the ball or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what Jared was saying.
Yeah, Jared
too.
said that.
Oh, yeah.
I just repeated it, but yeah.
Yeah. I
So I
think.
think-
I
Go
think. I think this one will be good. I mean, great way if they can get back to 500 with a win here. I mean, what a kind of a resurgence from Western Kentucky, a team that really should be competing in Conference USA, kind of down the road. And I know they had a kind of a harder get for some of the recruits this year, so hoping they can get some guys back, some seniors back, to kind of bridge the gap to the next group of guys coming in. Next up, we have the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, and that is Saturday at 2:30 as well. And this one's on ABC. We've got the number 19 Louisiana Raging Cajuns versus the University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners. I'm taking Louisiana this one. I think it's kind of a bummer for Louisiana. Just they deserve a more quality opponent than this one. I mean, I'd like to see like Louisiana versus UAB. I mean, Conference USA versus one of the Sun Belt finalists, and then let South Carolina play UTSA. Not that UTSA is a bad team, but just I mean, Louisiana. I mean, I've been seeing them. They've gotten just dragged on Twitter by everyone's just like, "Well, Iowa State lost to Louisiana. You don't deserve anything." But Louisiana's an awesome team. They
have a really explosive offense. It's fun to watch.
Billy Napier doing a great job. I saw he pulled his name out of the Auburn coaching search today too. So just an absolute disaster for Auburn, but awesome for Louisiana to keep their coach. And I think that they roll in this one. What's the line on this one, Nate?
It is Louisiana minus 13.
Yeah. So
I'd take that. I'd take Louisiana minus.
I think
13.
so. Yeah. Fun team to watch. Another fun one coming up. We've got the FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl. A lot of mortgage games in here, so make sure to get your mortgage on. We've got the Liberty Flames versus the number 12 Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. This one's at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. What combined 20-1 in this game?
Yep.
That's fun. That is fun, guys. I'm taking Coastal, but this one might be a fun game. Liberty's not a bad team. Who's Liberty's one loss to?
Their one loss is to North Carolina State, 15-14.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Like they beat they beat Virginia Tech and they beat Syracuse, and their one loss is, I mean, to an ACC team that's currently ranked.
These teams were supposed to play on December 5th, but the game got canceled.
Yes, and this is the reason BYU played Coastal.
So
I'm super hyped. Is there a close line with this one, I'm guessing?
No. Well, kind of. It's Coastal Carolina by 6.5, so a little bigger than I was thinking.
Yeah, I'd probably take Liberty plus the points.
Yeah.
But I think Coastal outright, maybe a 3-point game. This one might be kind of high scoring as well. Liberty's got kind of a fun offense, but any thoughts from either of you on picks?
I'm gonna take Coastal Carolina close also. I was just gonna say at the beginning of the season, if you said Liberty and Coastal Carolina was gonna be a good bowl game at the end of the year, I'd be like, okay. Yeah. I'd be like, Jack, stop taking or making your terrible picks or takes or whatever.
Hot takes.
Hot takes from Jack Abels.
I think Yeah, I think this is going to be a really. I think we were talking earlier before we jumped on and started recording, but I think this is going to be one of the better bowl games,
Mhm.
um, even including Alabama Notre Dame. I think that game is just not even going to be close. So
No, I
I
think this
think
one's gonna be better than that. Yeah.
I I think this. I'm not saying like these teams will ever get in, but I think this is more reason for the college football playoff to. I mean, well, their athletic or their um, the college football playoff chair is not a very smart man, but that's a hot take. But anyways, uh, I think they need to expand. I think they should do like an 8 or a 16 team and just
16.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I'm now on
replace.
board with the 16.
Well,
Like,
yeah, replace like the bowl games that like the New Year's Six and all that stuff, and just play like just do this, just do a 16 team thing.
and how would you feel about this? Every season coming into it, you automatically have Alabama and Clemson play for the national championship, but then you do basically like a normal team playoff. So like you just like you say Alabama, Clemson, you're too good. You are legitimate professional teams paying your athletes. So let's have. I mean, who's three through six right now? It would be Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, or Cincinnati. I mean, would you?
Cincinnati. I
Is
think
that
I would take, honest to goodness, I would take Ohio State out of the top four and put. I think Texas A&M deserves that spot more than Ohio State.
But if you could have a playoff of Ohio State, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, is that more watchable for you guys?
Oh
I think
yeah.
that'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you don't have the 1-4 blowout.
I just like so I'm like full transparency. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, so I have as much right to talk about the Crimson Tide as anybody in the world. And it's just like it's so bad for the sport. I really like I embraced the heritage for I think up until maybe 2012 they'd won two or three national titles in the span. Well, you have to understand like even as recent as 2008. I mean that was like their first big game when they beat Florida in that SEC championship game. I mean this was a bad Alabama team. I know it's crazy to think about. 2007, I think they lost to Louisiana Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
And
John Parker Wilson was their quarterback.
Yep. So I think it's really bad for the sport, and they need to do something now to fix it. And like shout out to Gary Barta for like having Iowa State's back, but like he is not a good college football playoff chairman. I mean, and it's not just because he's an Iowa guy. I think anybody right now, the way that it's all laid out, nobody's
You're set up to fail. You're set up to fail.
You're just a figurehead because like, do we really think Gary Barta isn't like they're giving him like no, it's like whoever like they're gonna like no matter what they're gonna put Alabama in, they're gonna put Clemson in, they're gonna put Ohio State in, and then it's just finding that last team, that sacrificial lamb. But they need to do something now. Like they need to do something now. These games are becoming unwatchable.
It's like the NBA finals for the past couple of years, how it's Golden State, and when LeBron was in Cleveland, it was Golden State and Cleveland in what 3-4 years in a row, something like that.
Yeah. The past couple of years have been better than that, right? I mean, Heat, Lakers, but like, is there anyone in the world that didn't want LeBron to win besides LeBron?
Heat fans.
Yeah, I mean, I just like I think like I guess I'm meant more in like the NBA community. Like that was the narrative that everybody wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like is the Lakers doing? And then the year before, the Raptors beat the Warriors, I think.
Because KD went down. What game did KD go down?
He was kind of hurt coming in, but yeah, him and Clay were both. I think KD went down end of game 2. But like that's a series like the Raptors winning, like good for them. But just it's broken right now, and I know this is a broken record. Every single other podcast is talking about the same thing that I'm talking about right now. But it's just absolutely unacceptable, and these games are just so unwatchable. Nobody wants to watch Alabama play football. No,
I mean,
no, not even Alabama fans.
I mean, it's to the point where like you see that like you look at your betting like, oh, Alabama plays ITT Tech or something like that, and or let's say Alabama plays Tennessee, what could be a good game, and you see it opens up and Alabama's like minus 20, and it's just like, okay, then
more than that, they'd be like minus 31.
Then there's no point in even cluing this game on. You know, all ESPN's going to talk about is oh, Alabama, it was like 7-0 within the first 3 minutes, and then Alabama scored 45 unanswered points or something like that. And it's just to the point where, like, I hate to say it, but when watching Alabama and Clemson these past couple years with Trevor Lawrence play football, I guess Clemson's been a little more exciting than Alabama. I just don't enjoy watching them play football.
I mean, the only ways to beat Alabama. Number one, you have an absolute transcendent quarterback and one of the best teams ever to play college football, LSU. That's how they beat them last year. You have injuries, Tua going down, and then Mac Jones wasn't ready, and that's how Auburn beat them. Those are the only two ways to beat them. Like,
Yeah,
you just
you can't outcoach Nick Saban.
No,
It's impossible.
Man, I cannot believe we went down this tangent, and but it's got to be said. They just like I don't want to be the podcast that talks about the same things that everyone else is talking about. That's to our listeners. That's not what we're here for. But we want fun college football. Like this is the same playoff that we had 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was Notre Dame versus Clemson and Alabama versus Ohio State. So a little bit mixed up. But how many semifinals have we seen Ohio State versus Clemson? Does anyone want to see Ohio State versus Clemson?
I feel like it's every year.
Oh my God. This is just this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, like
More than 4 teams, please.
Yeah. I just accept that Alabama and Clemson are professional teams. Would you rather, okay, ask me this. Tell me if this top 4 is something you want to see more. The New York Jets versus Notre Dame and the Jaguars versus Ohio State. Would you rather watch that?
I would rather watch that.
I'd rather watch that too.
Yeah.
Oh man, we have gone down the rabbit hole. So I apologize, everyone. But anyways, we're back on track now. So we all picked Coastal in this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got the Cheez-It Bowl, and kind of a weird break. No games on Sunday and then no games on Monday, the 28th. I'm not exactly sure why that is. Kind of a bummer. I know, Nathan, you have that day off of work. So we'll have to find. I know there's college basketball on day games every single day until New Year's. So that will be kind of exciting. We'll be able to watch some of that. But anyways, 4:30 Eastern on Tuesday, the 29th, we've got number 21 Oklahoma State versus number 18 Miami, Florida. This game just hampered a little bit. Chuba Hubbard for Oklahoma State has already opted out. He didn't play, I think, the last 2 games, so not much of a surprise in this one. But just kind of the bummer. A 21 versus 18 matchup might be a lot of fun. But this is one, they're both big enough programs and good enough teams where you're probably going to see a lot of opt-outs in this one. I don't know if De'Aaron King has said anything. I'm not entirely sure, but I know he's got NFL prospects as well. I'm probably going to take Miami in this one. Oklahoma State just has not looked solid kind of end of year. What say you, Nathan and Jack?
I would take Miami if no one else opts out. Maybe it will change opinions if more opt-outs happen. But yeah, Oklahoma State, I don't know. I don't trust them too much, but I also don't trust Miami. But yeah, I got Miami close. And also shout out to my favorite snack, Cheez-Its. Not an ad read though.
This show is brought to you by Cheez-Its.
Yes.
Just the originals are the best. The hot and spicy are pretty good though, I will admit.
That's
like
true.
The Tabasco ones.
What are you eating right now, Jack?
Cheez-Its.
I'm having some Kringla.
Sponsored by who?
Deb Abels. I will go on a little side tangent here.
We just went on
one
a side
thing,
tangent.
it's okay. It's relevant to what we're talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
I think players opting out of bowl games is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And that is not a hot take. That is a correct take.
That is the.
That's okay. They have to avoid injury, so I get that part of it. But at the same time, I agree with Jack. Like, I mean, obviously, I want them to play. Makes better bowl games.
Here's the thing. This all boils down to there's a guy named Jalen Smith. He's currently a linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. He was a player at Notre Dame, and they were playing Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl. I want to say 2015, maybe. And so he's Fiesta Bowl, big game. That's a big game. That's a New Year's Six Bowl. And he tears his ACL. And he was projected like top 3 pick in the NBA and the NFL draft.
NBA
And he
draft.
tears his ACL, and he's a late second round pick. Do you know how many millions of dollars that is? So this is like all these opting out was not a thing before him, but people see that now. And then Christian McCaffrey and that famous Rose Bowl game that we all love so much. He was another one. So it was the year before that. So that's a 2016 Rose Bowl. So that's kind of that. Jalen Smith is the reason all that kind of happened. I mean, I think the thing is that like kind of what I was talking about with COVID, these players owe us nothing. So I think like we use these players as a vessel for our entertainment. And a lot of them, they're coming in, it's their livelihood. I mean, this is how they make money, is to go to the NFL. And that's like, you can't go straight from high school to the NFL. So that's what you're using college for. So there are some people out there, like we don't get to make any choices for their futures. And I think that's just what we have to remember. They don't owe us anything. And I mean, I know this is the serious take of it. I mean, does it suck having players opt out of games? Yeah. And at Wisconsin and Iowa, it's not something that we see as much because it's kind of usually it's the people that have been in the programs for 4 years, like Jonathan Taylor. We played in the Rose Bowl game last year, and he played in that game. Like the Rose Bowl game is a big game, but I mean, it's like Christian McCaffrey said out of the Rose Bowl game, Jonathan Taylor, it's a different kind of player, and it depends different player to player on what the risk is. But some people, they come in and they say, these are my brothers that I played with them for 3-4 years, and I've known them for maybe longer, and they're going to play it. And some of them, it's not worth the risk, especially running backs. I mean, that's running backs. I don't blame anyone at all. Because the risk of tweaking your knee one time, and like the shelf life of running backs is like 4 years anyways. Yes, Jack.
Christian McCaffrey did not sit out of the Rose Bowl. He played in it.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. He torched Iowa. Right, Nathan?
Are we talking about the Iowa Rose Bowl game?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he sat out.
No, we lost by 185 because of Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, so was it maybe his next game?
I think it was
sophomore? Okay.
I think it was his next year.
Okay. So I apologize for that one. I've been, I think, talking that one up for a little while. But yeah, so he ended up sitting out one of the games. So maybe it was 2016 that Jalen Smith had the injury. But yeah, thank you for that, Jack.
No, you're welcome. Also, you you pointed out that Jalen Smith not going in the first round he missed millions of dollars, but the contract he signed in 2019 was $35 million guaranteed. So
yeah, no, I think, but like look up what was his draft pick. Someone look this
he was
up.
drafted. I got it right in front. I got his Wikipedia right up here.
Oh, Wikipedia.
I think it was like 50s.
So it looks like in 2015, he tore his ACL and LCL against Ohio State on January 7th. But he was picked. He was the second pick in the second round, the 34th pick.
Okay. So you go.
That's still a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah.
As a top 3 pick, you're making over 15 mil a year.
Yeah,
I think. I don't know what it was that year.
Yeah, but that's also good for him to, like you said, Jack, about getting that next contract. Like,
yeah,
he worked his butt off to get there. Like after.
Yeah, but now his
down.
production has declined steadily, and I think Jerry Jones regrets opening up his checkbook to pay him.
Jack is trying to make enemies on this podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I watch this on YouTube all the time.
I just said about how great he's been working his butt off, and then
yeah, I mean, congratulations to him for working his butt off. He got the Pro Bowl last year. Cool. You also got paid $64 million. I would make the Pro Bowl if someone were to pay me $64 million. Okay. I don't know.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Yes, please.
To the Valero Alamo Bowl. We've got number 20 Texas versus the surprising Colorado Buffaloes. This one's on Tuesday, the 29th at 8 p.m. on ESPN. And yeah, this is the last game for 18th year senior Sam Ehlinger.
Horns down, baby.
I'm picking Texas in this one. I mean, Colorado's a cool story and awesome for them to kind of get this bowl. But I think they are one of 2 teams in the Pac-12 to not decline their bowl. I think it's just Oregon and Colorado playing. So I guess they by default are in this spot, but they had the second best record. So you can't fault them for that, and they deserve it under their new coach. So are you guys taking Texas? I'm guessing the line is not super close on this one.
It's 11.5, and we're back. Give me Texas.
Yeah. They
Horns down. Give me Colorado. Old Big 12 matchup.
Then we'll move on to the Everett Syrup Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. This one's Wednesday, the 30th at 11 Eastern on ESPN. We've got Wake Forest versus Wisconsin. I just want to say something about this. So I told everyone on the podcast before I actually fell asleep in the end of the Wisconsin game. I'm happy that Wisconsin beat Minnesota for a few reasons, because there are a lot of people out there saying just like cancel the rest of the season, and I was maybe one of those people. But we didn't have a losing record this year after all the adversity we went through. So Wisconsin has not had a losing record since 2001. And they made a bowl game every year since 2002. And we kept the axe for the 15th time in 16 years. So that's even better than we did against Iowa. So I'm really proud of them to kind of battle back for that. And because having a losing record, like Wisconsin doesn't have losing seasons. Their down year is going 8-5.
That's a good year for Iowa.
I was just saying, I'm happy with that.
So I'm really proud of the Badgers in this spot. I know I've been kind of critical of them this year. I think everything that probably could have gone wrong went wrong for Wisconsin. You lose your senior starting quarterback with about a month until the season starts, and you're starting a freshman quarterback, and then you have a COVID spike the day after your first game of the season, and your backup quarterback is now in quarantine. So just absolute crazy season. I don't really know how I feel about this one. Wake Forest has got an awesome offense. They played a lot of close games. I know they had a close one versus, I think, North Carolina. They played them close. I can't go against Wisconsin, but I wouldn't feel awesome betting Wisconsin in this one.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's just to go against your team, but I have Wake Forest in this game. Wisconsin's offense, I mean, 11 or 7 points, 6 points, 7 points, 20 points.
Punt.
Yeah, I mean that's also Big Ten football, so I can't blame them for that. And Wake Forest is averaging 37 points a game.
Yeah, but Wake Forest has gone a month in between games. They're going to be rusty. Their quarterback, though, Sam Hartman, almost 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick. Like you mentioned that game against UNC, he had a career high 430 yards, 4 touchdown passes. And at one point in the season, he threw 258 straight passes without throwing a pick. And then he threw one against good old Louisville. So I think this will be a good game. I don't think the Wisconsin offense is as good as anyone thought it was when they played Illinois. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Illinois, EJ, I'm going to ask you how you feel about the Brett Bielema hiring after this, and Nathan, because I know you care so much about Brett Bielema.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad hire. I think giving him $4.2 million a year is just kind of asinine. But yeah,
gotta feed that gut somehow. Holy smokes!
Yeah, he did actually bring that up today. They said kind of how have you grown since your last year, and he said honestly I've grown physically, and so he's like I got to take care of that. I mean he's got to get healthy, and good for him. I guess it's hard not to notice, but also like good for him. Hopefully he's able to kind of get that under control, because he was kind of svelte when he came to Wisconsin as an OC.
Nathan, what tattoo does he have on his calf?
I was literally about to say that. So, are you reading my mind? So I'm really glad that Brett Bielema's Hawkeye tattoo on his cap is back in the Big Ten, especially at Illinois, so we can just keep beating them, unlike Wisconsin, except for this year.
Okay, we're on to the I've never heard of this one. The Trans Perfect Music City Bowl.
We touched on this on yesterday's episode about how, I said that we deserved a better bowl game. I thought we deserved a better bowl game. I was not expecting Music City Bowl when it was announced. Iowa was early 15-point favorites. It'd be interesting. Iowa's on a hot streak, but we'll see if they even play this game and who, if they
Mhm.
play this game, who's available for this game.
I guess
Yes.
here's the question I have for you. So you think Iowa deserves a better bowl game?
Yes.
So they right now have the third slot. This is the third slot because there's no Holiday Bowl, so they would have been in the Holiday Bowl.
Okay.
There's no Holiday Bowl. So at it, do you think that they deserved a better bowl than Northwestern?
No,
No.
No.
Do you think they
I-
deserved a better bowl than Indiana?
no.
We should have played Indiana, but no.
So what are you complaining about?
I'm complaining that
Do you think they deserve in the playoff?
yes. Alabama, Iowa, Clemson.
Oh
No.
my
Give me
God.
Iowa plus the points in that game.
Plus 200.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I take Iowa plus 200. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I just when this bowl game was announced, I was a little surprised. All right, Cotton Bowl time.
Yeah, we've got number 6 Oklahoma versus number 7 Florida. And this is Wednesday at 7 p.m. on the December 30th on ESPN. This one kind of a bummer. Kyle Pitts, the awesome tight end for Florida, has opted out of this one. I think it'll still be a fun one, though. I guess like I would have liked Iowa State to play in this one, but I feel like beating Florida at this point, you just like, oh, Florida's not that good of a team. They have 3 losses. Like I think I know Oregon's got some losses too, but Oregon doesn't have people opting out. So I think that game might be just kind of more fun for Iowa State. But anyways, back to the game at hand. I'm taking Oklahoma in this one. I just like Kyle Pitts is so dynamic. And you wonder if other people might opt out kind of behind him. And Oklahoma, just a much younger team that won't have people opting out. So I just think kind of they might just have more players. So
Yeah, I'll take Oklahoma also. Florida, obviously Pitts is a huge loss to not have him. Basically, I watched the Alabama Florida game. And that was basically their offense was Trask to Pitts. So not having them against the number 6 team in the country is not going to help them.
I think Oklahoma's just been on a tear ever since they lost to Iowa State. I think they're pretty unstoppable. So give me the Rattler. Give me Oklahoma.
We've got on the 31st at 11, we've got Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. We've got the number 24 Tulsa Golden Hurricanes, fresh off their almost win over the Bearcats of Cincinnati versus the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Just what a weird year for Mississippi State. I think another team, what are they, 4-6 this year?
3-7.
3-7.
So like just another team that does not belong in a bowl game. I mean, do we need any more stone cold facts showing that the SEC bias is everywhere? Yeah, I'm taking Tulsa. Like, just no questions asked.
Yeah, I'm gonna also take Tulsa. Jack, what was that? Yeah, I'll also take Tulsa. I'm just tired of looking at these terrible SEC teams in these games. I do not want to watch this game.
Yes.
Oh, so you can mute me, but then when you unmute me, it asks if I want to be unmuted. Okay, that makes sense. It doesn't ask if I want to be muted. I'd like to point out.
Oh, Right, welcome back, Jack.
No, I was still muted. I couldn't say anything.
Go talk.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I was too busy drinking orange
Just pick
juice.
Tulsa. Okay.
Okay,
next
I'll
one.
pick Tulsa. Go Golden
Okay.
Hurricanes.
Thank you.
Just, you'll pick whatever Nate says.
Yes.
We've got the Arizona Bowl on Thursday at 1 p.m. on CBS. This one's going to be awesome, too. We've got the Ball State Cardinals versus the number 22 ranked San Jose Spartans, the MAC champion versus the Mountain West champion. Just solid for Arizona to get this bowl matchup. I'm going to roll with San Jose State. I would have been really psyched if, I guess, Buffalo had beaten Ball State. And so it's Buffalo, San Jose State. That would have just been a super hype game. But I think Buffalo Marshall will still be fun. Yeah, I'm taking the Spartans. What say you?
I'm also taking San Jose State. Ball State, impressive year. I just think of every time I think of Ball State, I'm thinking of the first game of the season for Iowa, where that's our easy game. So impressive year, 6-1 by them. But yeah, give me San Jose State. The line is 7.5. I
For
don't
San
know.
Jose?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be that big,
Yeah.
but I think it'll be a little closer than that. But yeah, go Spartans.
Am I going to get muted when I make this pick?
No,
it
you're
depends if
fine.
you throw anything in your room.
I picked it back up. So,
Good job.
I'll take San Jose State. I think Nick Starkel is really good, but I say that with cautious optimism because we've seen this before where quarterbacks don't necessarily work out at the Power Five schools, and then they transfer to a lower school and do well. Nathan, can you name the quarterback that transferred out of Iowa and went to go play at Louisiana Tech?
I can see his face. Does that count?
He was number 19 for Iowa.
Yep,
Isn't
I
it
see his
Spencer
face.
Petras?
No, it's not. Just say
that's
the
next
name.
year.
Cody
Yeah.
Sokol.
What was it?
Cody Sokol.
Oh yes.
You want to know how I remember that? Every time I play NCAA 14,
Oh, here we go.
one of the loading screens is an LSU defender hitting the absolute brakes off of him. He's getting leveled.
I love how that's a loading screen.
Isn't it? Yeah. So I think San Jose State will win, but Nick Starkel's been really good this year as a grad transfer for San Jose State. So we'll see what happens.
Can you name the 2 previous schools that Nick Starkel has played for?
Yes, Arkansas and Texas A&M.
Nathan, can you name them? He may or may not be right.
I'll just go with UNI and Drake then, because I don't know.
Correct, Nathan. You're wrong, Jack.
Hey, whoa, no, I have ESPN pulled up in front of me. It says Arkansas and Texas
You read it
A&M.
off the screen.
Next up, we've got the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. This one is Thursday, the 31st at 3 p.m. on ESPN. And it was West Virginia versus Tennessee, but now it's Army versus West Virginia. So I think this one's going to be fun. I think Army being left out at 9-2 and some of the other teams being let in at 2-8 and 3-7. Just kind of laughable there. Great for Army to do it. I'm going to pick Army in this one. It's like we talked about, it's so hard to pick up on that triple option, especially what do we have 10 days for West Virginia to do it. And they really struggled down the stretch. Neil Brown's team, they were supposed to be kind of a formidable opponent for Iowa State, and they really weren't. I think Iowa State won 42-6 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I'm picking Army in this one. I think this one might end up being fun. I mean, how often do you see West Virginia kind of an air raid offense playing a triple option Army team? It's just not something you get to see often. So
yeah, I'm glad Army got into a bowl game that well deserved over South Carolina
and Mississippi State.
I'm still mad about that South Carolina one for some reason, but yeah, I have Army in this game also. Yeah, I think they're just gonna be really hyped up that they're actually in a bowl game now, and West Virginia is not that good.
Army has won the Commander-in-Chief game 4 out of the last 5 years. And before that, I think they had won like 2 in the last 15 years. Yeah. It was always
Navy totally dominated.
It was always just Navy just beating them like 30-0. And then I think Army's had kind of a resurgence in their football program. So is there a line out for this game yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you can bet on Army games. That's kind of weird. But yeah, I will. Whatever the line is, I take Army. I think. Yeah, I agree with you guys in that SEC football bias. Like, there's no reason that Mississippi State and South Carolina should be at under 500 being a game, and Army not even considered for one.
Next up, we've got the Mercury Texas Bowl. It is 7 p.m. on the 31st on ESPN. Arkansas versus TCU.
Here we go again with the SEC under 500.
Golly.
Yeah, the thing I'll say about this one is Arkansas is at least a fun team to watch. I can't say the same. Like, I enjoy watching Arkansas, and they really started off the season well. They had a couple wins. I mean, they almost win versus Arkansas, and then TCU is another fun one. I mean, this is a former Southwest Conference matchup. Arkansas used to be kind of in with the Texas schools. But just to, I think I am kind of looking forward to this one. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna pick Arkansas in this one.
I'm gonna pick the pride of Iowa and Max Duggan, and let's go Horned Frogs.
Horned Frogs.
Okay. We've got the Chick-fil-A
Ooh.
Peach Bowl.
Never heard of them.
The number 8 Cincinnati Bearcats versus the number 9 Georgia Bulldogs. This one is Friday, January 1st at 11:30 on ESPN. And I think here's the part that sucks with this one is here's what always happens with these kind of bowl games is so Cincinnati, really good team, probably should be in the playoff, versus Georgia, kind of good, maybe good when they're playing bad teams, bad when they're playing good teams, and they're going to have opt-outs in this one because this is the big team versus small team matchup. We've seen it before. We've seen Florida play Cincinnati. Do you remember when Wisconsin beat Western Michigan in the Cotton Bowl? And that was that game. And then so it's a lose-lose situation. If Wisconsin loses to Western Michigan, then you're like, oh my God, Wisconsin actually sucked. It's never, wow, Western Michigan was actually really good that year. So Georgia's going to have opt-outs in this one. And if Cincinnati beats Georgia, everyone's going to be like, oh, Georgia just didn't care.
Well, Georgia's had 3 opt-outs already of seniors who were going to play in the game. They've had, excuse me, Monty Rice, Trey McKitty, and DJ Daniel. So I think at this point, do you think that Georgia's just like, oh, we're in a bowl game? But I think, did we mention this when I think on one of our first episodes, do we think that Georgia is one of the most overhyped teams in college football?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think, I mean, in fairness, they were missing their top 2 quarterbacks this season too. So I think it's kind of a Wisconsin situation. I mean, they were playing Jarrett Stidham, excuse me. What's his name? Their
JT Daniels.
Well, that's the new one. They had someone just transferred.
Stetson Bennett.
Yeah. Frat brother Stetson Bennett. He's their 4th string quarterback coming into the year. And so he's known to be their starter. I mean, do you think Iowa's 4th string quarterback would compete in the Big Ten right now?
Iowa can barely, well, like I said, won 6 in a row, but it feels like Iowa can barely compete. So no.
I mean, how hard is that to do? I mean, obviously he didn't do well versus Alabama. Like Wisconsin, I mean, Nebraska fans thought Wisconsin canceled their game because they were scared to play with their 4th string quarterback. I obviously don't think that's true. But it's so hard to win. There's a reason you're a 4th string quarterback on a roster. Like you're just, so I think Georgia's fine with JT Daniels. Like, I think if you play a full season with him, I think they're probably more competitive with Alabama. I think they might beat Florida, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, just kind of a bummer for Cincinnati. Like, I know like this is the game that they were always going to play in if they don't make the playoff, but just like, I mean, why not have Cincinnati play Coastal? Why not have them play someone that's not going to have opt-outs? I mean, Cincinnati, Iowa. I mean,
yeah,
that game would be unfair. Cincinnati would win.
That's true. But anyways,
still be a good game.
I'm taking the Bearcats in this one though.
I'll take the Bearcats.
I want Cincinnati to win.
Okay. Next up, we've got the Verbo Citrus Bowl, and this one's at noon on ABC on the 1st. It's Auburn versus Northwestern. I'm not quite sure how Auburn gets into the Citrus Bowl.
It's that SEC bias. The 6-4 team gets to play the runner-up in the Big Ten at 6-2. Can we? I didn't mean. I mean, I meant to interrupt you, but I'm trying to say it politely. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Can we just appreciate the job that Pat Fitzgerald has done at Northwestern?
Yeah,
insane. And I know Nathan is an Iowa fan. It kind of sucks to see how good Pat Fitzgerald is because it seems like every year. I mean, for Wisconsin too. Northwestern could lose every game and they would still beat Wisconsin and Iowa, or at least be competitive in those games. Mm-hmm. And I think that just goes to show how well coached that team is and how loyal Pat Fitzgerald is to that program.
Yeah, it's good to see. Like you said, as an Iowa fan, it's really hard. No matter how bad they are, all of a sudden they're in Iowa City win by 7, and you just sit there like, really?
Mhm.
I'm still upset that we lost by 1 point to them earlier in the year.
The one thing I will say, kind of, we're talking, how does Auburn in this game? So listen to this. Didn't even realize this. So there's New Year's Six Bowl plus the college football. Well, I guess that's part of the college football. So there's 6 New Year's Six Bowls. There's the Peach Bowl, there's the Rose Bowl, there's the Orange Bowl, there's the Fiesta Bowl, there is the Cotton Bowl, and there is the Sugar Bowl. This year, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl are the semifinals, but we've got Florida, SEC team in the Cotton Bowl. We've got Georgia, SEC team in the Peach Bowl. We've got Alabama, SEC team in the Rose Bowl. No teams in the Sugar Bowl. We've got in the Fiesta Bowl, no teams in there. And then the Orange Bowl, we've got Texas A&M. So 4 SEC teams are in the 6 games. That's how the 5th best team makes basically the best bowl. I think there used to be in the BCS game. So there's the 4 BCS, Fiesta, Rose, Orange, and Sugar. You could only have 2 teams make it. So I remember one year, I think it was 2011, that it was Alabama versus LSU were like the 2 best teams, and they made the BCS national championship game. And Arkansas was number 7 in the country, and they were 11-2, and they couldn't make it. So they had to go to I guess probably at the time the Capital One Bowl, just because you couldn't have 2 teams in the same conference in there. I guess they did away with that rule this year. I mean, like, I feel like every team the SEC's in. Is Vanderbilt in here too?
Yeah, they're actually they're in the national championship.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I think I've learned to just hate the SEC on this episode of this podcast. So, anyways, yeah, I'm taking Northwestern. Auburn's just not good.
Yeah.
Like,
I question their firing of Gus Malzahn. It kind of reminds me of when. Do you think this would kind of be a thing where Nebraska fires Bo Pelini after going 9-3 because it wasn't to his standard, and look at what Nebraska's done since then?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the bigger issue for Auburn is that they've now had 3 coaches turn down, like, basically withdraw from it. You don't fire Gus Malzahn with that buyout unless you have someone that's already said yes. Like, you just don't. Not.
What are the 3 coaches?
I think it's Freeze, Kevin Steele, and Billy Napier.
Okay, can I give a hot take real quick?
Sure.
When Northern Illinois fires their head coach, look for Brian Ferentz to take that job.
Wouldn't be surprised. I'm just going to keep going on this. So the next best bowl besides the Citrus Bowl, Ole Miss is in the Outback Bowl versus the number 11 Indiana. Does Ole Miss have a winning record right now?
No.
They 4-6?
I think. Let me check.
5-5.
Wait, it's a ranked Indiana team playing.
Ole Miss is
4-5. What?
So this is like how, like, you don't put, like, no, we don't need 4 SEC teams in these games.
That's bad.
I mean, who's the team you pull? I think it's got to be Georgia that you just can't have in that Peach Bowl.
Take Auburn out.
How about you put Indiana in there? Indiana versus Cincinnati.
That would be a really good game.
And then you have Northwestern versus Georgia in the Citrus Bowl. I just fixed it. Fixed it.
Also, I would like to point out real quick. I was reading online, and it sounds like the top 2 candidates for the Auburn coaching job right now are Lane Kiffin and Hugh Freeze.
Oh, so Freeze is still in there.
And no one wants to touch him for what he did at Ole Miss.
Yeah. I guess my question is, why does Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss to go to Auburn?
More money.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think that's dumb.
It's all about the money.
I mean, Lane Kiffin has just got to be one of the most polarizing people. But anyways, we're a hot take machine tonight. So yeah, SEC sucks. There, you heard it. Let's I know we've been taking a while, so let's hurry these games up a little bit. We've got the Rose Bowl game. This is the first semifinal. This is 3 p.m. on the 1st. Alabama versus Notre Dame. Alabama. Don't even need to say anything.
Oh, EJ, you forgot about Kentucky. They have a losing record and they're in a bowl game too.
Yeah, and we'll talk. And that's another bummer. They played number 23 NC State. That's the problem right now. Is like no one. I mean, I think Ole Miss, Indiana is gonna be kind of fun just because Ole Miss can just. I mean, Matt Corral is just a fun quarterback to watch, but their defense is just horrendous. But yeah, we'll talk about that game in a bit. But yeah, I mean, any objections to Alabama here?
No.
No, it's roll tide all day.
Yeah.
There's no way we don't need to get back into this whole college football playoff conversation,
Mhm.
but there should not be a college football playoff game that is a 19.5 point spread. If you
Didn't
do
it
a
open
top
at like
four.
20 some?
And then we've got number 2 Clemson versus number 3 Ohio State. That game is at 7 on ESPN the same day. I'm taking Clemson here. Is this one at least a closer spread?
It's 7.5,
Whoa.
which is still bigger
Justin-
than I would think.
Justin Fields has not done as well as I thought he would this
No,
season.
he's kind of had a bad year, to be honest. Yeah, I think that the issue with this one, it might be fun, but it's not a super watchable game because of how often they've played each other. Yeah, I think that just the part of the issue with the playoff is there just haven't been a lot of close games. I mean, the Ohio State Clemson game last year was fun, but when's the last time we've seen a close game in that 1-4 matchup? There's only been one upset ever, and it was when Ohio State beat Alabama in the first year of the playoff.
That was when Ezekiel Elliott was a monster, right?
Yeah, but I don't
Mhm.
think like it's possible to have that kind of upset.
No,
I
not
agree.
with not like you stated earlier. Alabama and Clemson are pretty much pro teams.
I guess the only way to have it happen is if one of the 4 of them, like if Clemson had lost to Notre Dame and still gotten as the 4 seed, I think Clemson could have beat Alabama. But it's got to be one of the teams has to end up as the 4 seed, and then they beat the 1. But you're not going to have an Oklahoma. You're not going to have a Notre Dame. You're not going to have a Michigan State. You're not going to have a Washington. None of those teams are going to beat the number 1 team.
No.
Never going to happen. Next up, we've got the Tex Layer Gator Bowl. This is Saturday, the January 2nd at 11 on ESPN. We've got number 23 NC State versus another one of those teams with a losing record, Kentucky. I'm taking NC State in this one.
NC State. I'll take
Yep.
them.
Yep, I think
Kentucky is a 2.5 point favorite in this game.
Yeah, no,
But I'll also take NC State.
that's
Just wanna
win
throw
us.
that out.
That's going to win us some money right there. Yeah, a great year for NC State after losing their star quarterback Devin Leary. Who's their backup? Bailey. Someone find that one for me. I'm going to keep talking. Broken leg for Devin
Bailey
Leary.
Hawkman.
Bailey Hawkman. So he comes in after a broken leg for Devin Leary and leads his team to respectability. I mean, this is Dave Doran really on the hot seat coming in the year. This is a storied program for the Wolfpack, and really just kind of picking it up this year and maybe saving his job because he was firmly on the hot seat coming into the year. So yeah, I think NC State maybe not horribly big because Kentucky's a pretty accomplished program in their own right, as they at least keep things close. But Kentucky just cannot throw the football.
There was some hype coming into the season for Kentucky, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think they're kind of that safe team. I mean, maybe like an Iowa of the SEC.
SEC?
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a mean way at all. I just think well coached, smart team that's limited. They're limited. So and then also on the 2nd at 11:30, we've got Ole Miss versus number 11 Indiana, the game we are just talking about. I think Indiana big in this one. This is I see why Indiana, I didn't understand why they were so upset before, but I mean, they're upset because they are having to play it. Their reward for one of the best seasons in their history is playing a team with a losing record.
I know you alluded to earlier that Matt Corral is fun to watch. It is fun to watch when he has 27 touchdowns, but he also has 14 picks. He threw 5 of them against LSU.
I mean, he closes his eyes and throws it 70 yards downfield. That's all he does. But that's why it's fun to watch.
I love the only time what comes to mind when I think of Matt Corral is that touchdown pass he threw where Lane Kiffin chucked his clipboard up in the air. That's got to be my favorite thing.
Yeah, that was good.
But I'll take Indiana big on this game. I don't think.
What's the line on this one?
Indiana 6.5.
Obviously, I'm taking the points on that. Or I guess Indiana minus the points. Next up at 3 p.m. on the 2nd, we've got the best team in college football this year. The number 10 Iowa State Cyclones playing the surprise champions of the Pac-12, the Oregon Ducks. I think this is another one. I know Oregon gets in because they're the AQ out of the Pac-12, and I think another reason, part of this is USC is not in there, and USC was a highly ranked team. So you're losing some of those ranked teams, and that's why you're losing some of this. Like, I think it probably would have been Iowa versus USC, and not that we
Again.
need to see that again. I feel like USC either plays Wisconsin or Iowa in every single bowl game. But I think that's probably what it would have ended up as. And maybe then you get an Indiana versus Missouri or something. I mean, that's a more respectable game than Ole Miss. But anyways, I'm taking Iowa State in this one. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think Oregon is very overmatched in this one.
I think this is that signature bowl win that Matt Campbell needs.
Mhm.
Yeah, that win over Memphis a couple years ago was nice, but I think he's still got that sour taste in his mouth from getting shellacked by Notre Dame. So I think if he can beat Oregon, he can say, okay, I proved that I can do this. Let me get 1-2 more seasons under my belt and then see what opens up. Because I think I know we talked about this quite a bit, but I'm really surprised that Tom Herman's coming back to Texas. That really surprised me when they made that announcement.
Yeah, I think people turned Texas down. Like, I know they were trying to get Matt Campbell too, not confirmed. And then of course, Urban Meyer said no. And so they kind of, I mean, it's what Auburn didn't do is this is a year nobody knows. You don't know, like Gary Barta just came out for Iowa and said right now, even after they got football in, they have a budget shortfall of $55 million to $60 million. And it's going to take 10 years to recover from that. And they had Iowa cut 4 programs. I mean,
Yep.
this is not a year to be firing your coach. I just think, like, I know it's not the universities that's coming up with the money, it's the donors, but you just can't do it. Spend the money on something else this year. And then once they're in a better financial situation, then you do it. But you're not firing a coach to hire someone right now, and you're not going to end up in a better situation in a year.
Mm.
Gus Malzahn is not that bad of a coach that you just need. I think minus a situation where there's some sort of misconduct or something like going on in the program, I don't think this is the year to do it. And I think it just speaks kind of poorly to kind of what the staff is thinking, especially if you didn't have someone in mind that already says yes, and you've already had that contract written for them and it's already signed. I just don't think you do it. But
why was his buyout $21 million? That is insane.
I mean, you win. What did he won a national title, didn't he?
He won a national title, and no, that was Gene Chiswick.
I thought Auburn won, or he went to a
He was
national
he was the
title.
OC for that Auburn national title win, but he was the head coach when they went and played Florida State in famous Jameis.
Yeah. So he's been to a national title game. So he's clearly a decent enough coach. But yeah, I think, are we all taking Iowa State in this one?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the last game, and then we'll talk about the, I guess, playoff final predictions. We've got the Capital One Orange Bowl. This one's at 7 on ESPN. I think another one I'm kind of excited for. But just there's really no one worthy in the SEC of maybe like the Orange Bowl, but we've seen some questionable teams in the Orange Bowl before. But it might be a fun one. Texas A&M number 5, kind of the snub of the college football playoff, playing number 13 North Carolina. Yes, Jack.
I'll let you finish your tangent, and then I have some score updates. So
Okay. Yeah, I think like this one might be kind of fun. I'm taking Texas A&M, but like this might be the game that I'm like, okay, I think I could see an upset. I mean, Sam Howell, he throws that pigskin around, and I think Texas A&M a little bit overrated. I think they got a bit lucky with their win versus Florida. So this is my upset special, and I'm taking the points. I think it's going to be a very close, narrow win and a fun watch. But I'm taking the Aggies.
North Carolina is a fun team to watch, but I don't know. I just see Texas A&M like they feel like they deserve that number 4 spot, and this is their game to prove that. After Notre Dame loses by 40 to Alabama the day before, that they should have been the team in that position, maybe to also lose by 40, but that's
What was the game of their first time versus Alabama?
it was Jack. Go ahead with the score updates while I find this.
yeah, so the Bengals beat the Steelers 27-17. The spread tonight for Gonzaga Northwestern State was 40, and the final was 95-57. So bad beat there. Gonzaga Northwestern covers the plus 40 spread. Northwestern State, excuse me, yes. And if we all remember how we were not very nice to Iowa State for barely beating Arkansas Pine Bluff Baylor beat them by 57.
Yikes.
So 99-42. So that just shows you
Tough year.
yeah, it's gonna be a long basketball season.
Yeah. Texas A&M lost to Alabama in week 2, 52-24.
So 28 points.
I would rather take. Well,
I just don't want to see a rematch. No one needs to see a rematch.
That's true.
But yeah, I agree. I think that's why you put Cincinnati there. So we're all taking A&M.
yes.
Yes.
And then we'll just give our kind of national championship, I guess, in the college or the Capital One Bowl Mania. It has you pick a winner, and then it has you pick the final score. So I guess we'll just finish with that. I'm taking Alabama to beat Clemson 49-34.
Oh,
All right.
Yes, spicy.
Give me Alabama over Clemson, but it's like 28-27. It's a lot closer.
yeah. I was gonna say Alabama 31-28.
Have you guys watched Alabama's offense play this year?
Yes, it is insane. But have you seen Clemson's defense?
I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, I've seen good defenses in Alabama. I mean, they're playing high school teams out there, it seems like. Nick Saban is
true.
on a revenge tour this year.
You're right. Alabama 100-0. Good call.
There you go. I just wanted to do a couple thank yous. Thank you to Jack for coming on. I think we can kind of make this more of a regular thing. Just kind of fun to do these kind of impromptu episodes. We just wanted to get on, talk with the boys, and we're super hyped for this bowl game. I mean, we've talked about it's not exactly what we had gotten, but coming in 4 months ago, did we think we'd get to this point? No. So just happy to have some games in here. All of our teams are in here, and really excited to see that, and kind of a culmination of the season for a lot of teams. And just a big shout out to all these teams for getting to this point, and for the successful seasons they've had. And thank you to Jack for coming on and talking with us, and really hoping to have you back soon. And thank you to Nathan. And this is 2 podcasts in a row, and then we'll probably have another one coming up soon. So shout out to you for being a homie and always being on. And thank you to me for being the best host I've ever seen. Thank you all to all the listeners for, I guess, tuning in on this one, and hopefully we can help with some of your bowl picks and betting purposes. Just do not listen to Nathan on any of those picks.
0 for 4, baby.
And hope everyone's having, I know I said yesterday, but a great start to their holidays. And so thank you so much. Make sure to give us a subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and then a follow on Twitter at GoTopsPod, on Instagram at GoTopsPod, and then our TikTok.
GoTopsPod, baby.
I don't do
not
TikTok.
not the baby. Just GoTopsPod.
So yeah, check us out on TikTok as well. And then, so thank you so much. And also leave us reviews. We like to read reviews on here. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and happy holidays to all. And everyone have a fantastic night, and go Tops.
Happy holidays.
Go Tops.